Harambe!
What's the word? What's going on, people? We're back. We took 2 weeks off because you know.
We had to recover from that food coma, from that Thanksgiving starch nap.
Starch-filled, healthy diet. I promised myself that I wasn't gonna eat any meat. Pause, but I broke the code for Thanksgiving. But we're back. We have I am Wally Wall Street. I'm with Dave Williams and Mike Hennix. We are here to talk some good-ish, good stuff. But we have
fire on deck.
Wait, pause. Man, I get a great reading. I wasn't feeling that intro this week. I
know.
I agree with that.
That's why I come up here. I'll be feeling real. I'll be feeling real royal. Let's have it again, man. So this is Wally.
Rewind.
We're back. It's your boy. We're back. We're really back. I'm so excited. You're right. That was really off intro.
Yeah.
This is.
Put your feet in it. Get in there.
Make sure. Put some elbow grease right here. I am Wally Wall Street. Mr. Instagram DM Master.
DM creep professional.
I'm with the songwriter, the music producer, the Vulture, Grammy nominated, Bruno Mars best friend, Dave Williams.
Yo, Bruno Mars, get at me. Let's be friends. Let's play Madden.
Let's go see how real I am.
Yeah, come see how real I am.
And we're with our real illustrious guest, one and only, representing Rutgers University, representing Hennix Enterprise, representing Chubby Troy.
Yo,
I'm coming soon.
I mean, he's doing like a boxer thing. He's like standing.
Put the hoodie up.
We've got Mike
Standing 5'9".
shutting it down.
Appreciate it.
Putting on a jersey.
Yo, that's Wally Wall Street, the Instagram creeper, right there.
The Jeepers Creepers.
Watch out for my likes. And we're here.
The kiss of death.
We're here, man. We're back. We took some time off because
But that doesn't matter. We're back here. We're here now. It's the present. The present is a present. It's a gift, right?
True.
Open that gift up. So when we open the gift up, first thing we find is we're talking about the princess, or the future, probably not future, possibly could be potential black princess in over in London, right? It's not the UK anymore, right? Brexit. But
really?
No, it's still the UK.
Is it? Well, they're not the UK, right? Because
No.
London left,
No,
right?
they left. They left the European Union, the United Kingdom.
Oh, right.
It's Scotland, Ireland, Britain, and
Wales.
England. And Wales. That's the United Kingdom.
Right. My mistake.
Fun fact.
We don't do civics that much. Like for example, how the fuck does parliamentary government work? I don't know. There's a bunch of people. They shout. Sometimes they fight each other.
I like watching the fights on YouTube.
Yeah, right. Like some guy from the Czech Republic will like throw a chair at some dude. You're like, yo, what the fuck is going on?
Niggas doing like the Billie Jean moonwalk, kicking.
Yeah, man.
Kicking niggas.
Like the one time a month C-SPAN's like kind of interesting. It's like, oh, it was a fight in Parliament in like Sweden somewhere. All right, so it's an interesting situation.
Yes,
Prince, help me out. Which Prince? I want to say Harry.
Harry.
Cool. So
Harold.
Prince Harold.
Prince Harold,
Yes.
That's the chap's name. Yes.
Yeah. Sir Harold.
The millennial. So he's a millennial prince.
He's the ultimate millennial prince, stepping into that interracial love. Shout out to Prince Harry getting some interracial love.
Listen, this is
swirling it up.
This is what may she rest in peace. I say this with much utmost respect to Dr. Frances C. Welsing, man. She mentioned that. You know what I'm saying? Where people were, as time progressed, there's gonna be a lot of, engaging of,
Well, remember, his
fluids.
mother was also dating a gentleman that wasn't white before she passed away as well.
Oh.
The owner of Harrods. When she was with Dofi Fayette, I think his name was, when they were in that car crash. I think that was his name. I think his name was Dofi. But his last name was Fayette. Fayette. And I think he was a Saudi. I think he's from Saudi. I think
really?
so. Yeah, he's a Saudi national. Or if he wasn't Saudi national, he was someone of Middle Eastern descent who definitely was not white. And that definitely was a controversy. And that was 20 years ago. So now fast forward to 20 years later, and now you have her son, wow, pardon me. Her son is out here, dating someone black.
Right.
So they're progressive.
Very progressive for family, on the mother's side at least.
Which makes sense. Where does Prince... Wait, is that Princess Diana's?
Yes, that's Princess Diana's son.
Son, right? Okay, yeah. Okay, so wow. So yeah, that does make a lot of sense. But one thing that I was seeing a lot, like online, people were arguing. A lot of social issues come into play. A lot of racial issues. The young lady, I'm gonna have to look up her name. The young lady is she's mixed, right?
She's in Suits. I believe her.
Oh, you talking about Rachel Markle?
Yes.
Oh, I love her. She's my WCW a couple of times.
Yeah.
I watch Suits all the time. And
I'm still my favorite
I'm still holding out hope that, that we cross paths, we, make eye contact, and she forgets about this Harry fellow.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, this
it
Harry
could
guy.
happen. It could happen.
Hey, listen, man.
What's he got that you don't?
Yeah.
What's he got?
He ain't shit.
He ain't nothing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Listen. What
ain't like he's royalty or nothing.
Right.
You must think you Prince of the world.
Because he talks like this. Is that what it is, babe? Like, get out of here, man.
Yeah, right. I can say in it too. I can fake it. I can fake an accent.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Fake it. Now, if she comes with this Madonna fake British accent and shit, I'm cutting her off, man.
Yeah.
Like, knock it off. Like, that you do not talk like that, Rachel.
Been living in Roxbury 3 months. Yeah, like the fuck.
What is this? Yeah, I don't.
What is the meaning of this? Like, that's a horrible accent. Like,
yeah.
No.
Yeah. Stop it, Rachel Zane. I'm telling your father.
Rachel Zane.
Yeah, right. Rachel Dola Jane.
That's her character in the show Suits.
Oh,
yeah. I got you.
Her father is like the brother who was from.
And her boyfriend's white on that too, son.
Yo, that is crazy.
But you know what though? What's funny about that is, if you look at her, you cannot tell that she's a black woman. Like, what does that mean? What does that mean in today's society? What black is and what isn't? And that goes back to the old days of passing. Like, someone like her could have definitely passed,
right?
And lived in the community. They'd have been like, "Oh, she's tan," because when they introduced her on the show, no one knew she was black. She said to her boyfriend, who was white, "What do you think this is a tan that I always have?" No, they said it like, because they didn't know her name was. She goes, Zane. And he goes, Robert Zane's daughter? Yeah, that's my father. So that's like this idea of that we don't know, and we're still trying to process in our minds what is blackness and what black looks like. And you have this whole idea of usually that comes down the line of being able to pass, not second generation passing. That's a really big thing with us because, like, in America, I've been watching a lot of different documentaries with Henry Louis Gates. I don't know if you're familiar with him, the gentleman that he does a lot of stuff on public broadcast about genes and blackness and around the world, and you see how people around the world are treated because of skin color. Like here in America, we had the 1-drop rule, and other places they have different social castes for people that are mixed, octodrone, quadrone, and then all these things like that. So where does she fall into that, and what does that mean to be black? Is she really black? Is she not black? Is she an octodrone or quadrone, depending upon what they're calling her?
Yeah. At what point does that become so insulting? Right?
Yeah.
Like
you're mulatto, like a horse, like a half animal, like what does that mean?
Like a dog, like a pug beagle mix or something, So, but like just looking at pictures of them together, one thing that's just kind of just jumping out to me is, like you said, she doesn't look very black. So, like, one argument that I've heard is that, like, with the whole, and again, colorism is something we can talk about, like the whole mixed versus black argument, right? Is like the whole, like, they're replacing us, right? We're being replaced. And so you have a woman who has black genetics, so we should consider her black, but looking at her, you really wouldn't necessarily think that she could. You're right. She could pass for having a tan, or she could be like a little bit of Spanish.
She looks like she's
like the future. She looks like
Italian
anyone.
Women that have her,
right?
Like women from Italy who have her exact,
like that same complexion,
or Greece, like the olive complexion. She could be Greek. Like what differentiates how she looks from a Kardashian?
Right. And the point I was gonna make is why is what makes why is Prince Harry so progressive for just dating a person who like we're giving him super progressive points for dating a black person, but we're sitting here talking about how the black person doesn't look like traditionally black. So it's like, and again, I don't want to be offensive, so I'm asking, like, are we praising someone? Is it like, I don't want to. Is Diet Coke oversimplifying? It's oversimplifying a lot, right? Like it's like you want to get the Civil Rights Award for being the super open-minded guy who's willing to date someone who's not white, but you found a not white person who looks as close as possible to white as possible. See what I'm saying? So it's not like you dated someone who, granted, you can't help who you fall in love with. If you just happen to meet at a bar and you hit it off, then whatever. You know.
Or church. Yeah.
Right. Or church. Right.
If you're the pastor.
Yo, church coach more than the bar in the club, man.
Yeah. Okay, show of hands. How many listeners, the last person you slept with, did you meet him at the church or the bar? Thank you. So, but
met him in band camp.
Right. So it's like, it's a question for you guys. You guys could jump in when you want. Should we give him progressive points for dating a non-white person who looks really white?
Yes.
Why?
Because it takes a lot of, first of all, not only is she someone who isn't, white, but she's also an American. All right. Yeah. She's not somebody that's like, within the.
Wait, Prince is betraying the crown for a Yankee?
For a Yankee.
For a bloody Yankee?
For a bloody Yankee.
Can't trust a Yankee?
You can't trust a Yankee.
You're doing this.
Look at who they put in the office.
Bloody hell.
This guy has chosen a woman who comes from a culture where they threw like tea bags in the fucking ocean, and they said no taxation without representation. So he's really like, he went in straight for the love of this.
Oh, you think it's like a revenge bang? You think he's trying to get back at the U.S.? Is that what you think? He's trying to get back at the...
That's where I'm going.
I thought that's where you were going. No. Revenge bang.
You're going to steal our biracial women, right?
I'll show you. Take our tea, we'll take your women.
Take your women, right?
Oh my God. So, look, man, we're not going to get invited to the wedding, so it is what it is.
I don't know, y'all. Listen, I'm going there right now. I'm going to break that up.
Your wedding crashers.
Hold in peace. We're meant to be together.
We're going to do it for the U.S.
Yo, fucking have your.
I'm going to go out
your boombox and shit.
I was going to say, I'm going to go out and play a song to distract people and shit. Man, be like, no, you cheers. USA.
Yeah, but in all were you done making your point?
Yeah. I mean, realistically, I just
the revenge bang isn't happening.
Honestly, though, I just feel that he's really not he's not considering any of what family members or what friends may think. He's really after the woman because she seems well grounded. But then again, she's an actress, so she could just be fronting. But the guy trusts his heart, and I would like to believe that being that he's the descendant of Princess Diana, that he has some good in his heart.
I hear that.
Yeah,
so, yeah. What I think honestly is that if you look at her and him together, right? Yeah, he could have been one of these. They're very blood lineage people, the royal family, right? So they're on some. Hey, listen, this guy does not conform to what we're doing if he's gonna sit there and dilute the royal bloodline with whatever else. It's not even about her being black. It's her being anything other than non-white. And then if he was dating a certain type of white person, he doesn't meet that class that they want her to come from, of Edinburgh. That
right.
Yeah. So now you got him, and then also you got to also look at she's a divorcee as well. So he's dating someone who's a divorcee.
Oh, she's been tainted.
I didn't know
she's
that.
it's been a whole bunch of stuff on that. People are like not happy with him picking this woman. And
I was just reading how
they're calling him like a cuckold. Like that's kind of like, and that's also kind of racial as well because that goes back to like that's like the new alt-right word for people that date black people.
Or people are progressive in general, or just not a scumbag. Like right. I see that shit like all over YouTube.
But that comes from slavery though, where the institution of slavery, where the slave master would have a slave owner, slave master, slave would have his slave sleep with his wife and watch it for fun, or other, and they would just invite people over there, and like slavery is just a whole bunch of like sick shit that went on through that. So and it still lives on.
Reveals a lot of the subconscious, man.
Yeah, it does.
I've always said I think all of racism comes down to penis, man. I think it's an insecurity thing, man. I really was and is. I think that's really all it comes down to.
So they would have these people, and then this comes from not being a real man. Yeah. So now, like
that's what I'm saying.
Like now, I don't want to give him credit for anything because it's like I'm not gonna give people credit for just being in love. I personally. I'm happy that he just sees her as a person and doesn't care what other people say.
Right.
And that's just like, at the end of the day, he has no aspirations of being the king. What the hell does being the king really mean in 2017 over there?
Nothing at all.
And he's not really.
But I think it's a symbol of their superiority. We're one of the few countries in the world that still has nobility, so that gives us a certain level of gravitas that other countries don't have.
But you see,
you're fucking it all up.
The thing about it is, like, if you look at real royalty, I don't see royalty in the United Kingdom. I see real royalty in the House of Saud over in Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi, those type of princes. Like, they got bread and they like treat
actual
like royalty, real authority. And they're really out there doing their thing. Like, I really see them like.
To be fair, MXE podcast doesn't support, like Saudi government and like cluster bombing Yemenis children and shit. But I do see your larger point. I'm just saying for the future, because like someone would be like, these fucking liberals support the Saudis and they want Sharia love. Sharia law.
Actually,
Sharia law.
Actually, they don't want Sharia law. I don't want to get to the left. That's what a lot of people say too much. They're not about Sharia law. They're about doing what they want to do over there. Those Saudi guys over there, they party, they go crazy. Is that they just cater to, just like how Trump caters to the Christian right in this country.
Red meat,
they gotta cater to the Christian, the Islam right in that country. And then, no matter where in the world you go, that's what you're gonna deal with. But my point being is that being a king or being a prince is much more of a thing in the Middle East than it is being a king in England. Like, no one gives a shit about them. Like, I don't care about them. Like, so what?
Yeah, no, it really is 100% for show, and I think that's part of what frustrates them so much. Like, I think that's part of what frustrates people so much about the Trump thing. And like, I think that's part of the reason why, people are talking about impeaching him now, but we haven't gotten there yet because we don't want to admit, like, you really kind of fucked up with this one. And I feel like we don't want to admit, we don't want to kind of let it go. We don't kind of want to admit it. I think it's like that kind of like stubbornness.
It's not a quick fix.
Yeah.
Remember, Bill Clinton did his whole first term under turmoil because they had him on the and this is another thing that's about today. It's just why I don't really talk bad about Trump with the grab him by the pussy situation, because it was like, you like Bill Clinton. Black people love Bill Clinton. Like, we sit here and we go, oh, Bill Clinton, right? And then we shamed the hell out of Monica Lewinsky, didn't we? We said, shame on you, Monica Lewinsky. You knew he was married. Shame on you, Monica Lewinsky. You kept the dress. Shame on you. But we never said, shame on you, Bill Clinton. You came on that dress. Shame on you, Bill Clinton. You were 40-something years old, 50 years old, sleeping with an intern. Shame on you, Bill Clinton, for having sex in the fucking White House Oval Office. Shame on you, Bill Clinton, for cheating on your wife. What did we do? We treated him like he was the fucking king of Zamunda and threw roses at his feet when he came to Harlem, right? Because he was our black president.
His royal oaths, man.
Right. And that's what we do.
And then we shamed Hillary.
And we didn't really shame Hillary. We said...
I heard a lot of people go after Hillary,
but you know what they said? They said, great for you, Hillary, being a strong woman in the face of adversity and standing by your man and not throwing him under the bus when he did that to you. Yeah, we didn't shame her at all. We said she was great, and she had to keep a stiff face in the middle of her being embarrassed. Had she left him high and dry, we would have been like, oh, look at her when things get rough, right?
Yeah. Or she would have been president of the United States.
No, she was never going to be the president of the United States here. Honestly, bro, if the president was going to be there, it was going to be Al Gore. Al Gore had it. Had the shit locked. True. This country was ready. He was ready because he won the popular vote. Mm-hmm.
And technically, the electoral, they say when you recount it that he won both.
But the problem with him was that he was one of the only presidents in the history of running that lost his home state. Had he won Tennessee, he would have won it. And why did he lose Tennessee? Because people saw Bill Clinton as like the anti. We had morals back then, right?
Yeah, he was a crazy
like 20 years ago. We had a sense of
baby boomer,
right? But we had that moral compass where sexual deviancy wasn't accepted.
I think like we lost the moral high ground to talk on a lot of shit.
We lost it there.
Yeah.
Because then what did we do?
They still bring it up on Fox News today.
Think about this.
They bring it up today. What about Bill Clinton?
What did we do? After we got rid of the sexual addict, right? Who did we vote in next? We voted in an alcoholic cokehead, right? Yeah, but he got on his knees and gave his life over to Jesus Christ, and we forgave him, and we said, this is our president, and we elected Bush. Because he was a noted alcoholic, right? He got arrested for driving while drunk. He was a noted cokehead, party hard. Yeah. And, he was the Prince Harry of the Bush family, right? He was the black sheep, because they never was grooming him to be anything other than the party guy from Yale. His brother Jeb was the guy. And when you hear Jeb Bush speak, he speaks presidential, but because his last name was Bush and he's related to that Bush, fuck no.
That's a fucked up form of nepotism.
I think, right. That plus I think Jeb Bush has like almost no charisma or like star power.
He doesn't need charisma, star power.
Well, tell that to Trump.
Right.
Trump has no policy in all star power, and he's president.
If his name was anything other than Jeb Bush, and he came from Florida, and he came from a deep red state, he would have had a choice. But people hear Bush, and people just turn that shit off. And
for sure. Yeah, that was
he was doomed.
But what if he could have rebranded his party lines?
He couldn't rebrand it. He has Bush on his name.
Yeah.
Just like we're never gonna vote for another Clinton. We're not.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
I'll vote for her daughter.
They
tried to push Chelsea, but it's not. I don't think it's gonna happen.
And Chelsea bad too, boy.
But to be fair, people are
bad looking.
People are.
I said it.
I did it.
Right.
I love you, girl.
To be fair, I was neutral. I didn't say anything. But what was it? People are just now starting to give Bill Clinton the shit he probably deserves. Like if you watch like MSNBC, like literally this week, especially after all the Hurricane Harvey stuff, and all that kind of craziness. I think Al Franken, Conyers, it's been liberals and conservatives, so they no longer really have a reason.
She looks like her mom. Chelsea looks good.
No.
To each, I don't know.
No.
I'm Switzerland. Everyone, whatever makes you happy in your heart, man.
But honestly though, like to really piggyback off that, people ask, how can we vote for a president who treats women like that? And I'm like, we've done it already. We've done it twice.
But to be fair, and I don't want to, but I am do the whole like moral apologist thing.
Yams.
I
mean, that kind of moves me a little bit.
I don't know yams.
That's
sweet potato.
Come on, Chelsea.
That's sweet potato. Ain't no yams. I know yams, and I see that's sweet potato, brother. Ain't no yams. No sir.
Ain't a side.
That's off brand.
That's a side of mash.
It's a side of mash.
Chelsea Clinton.
Oh my god.
So much you got, No lies.
All right. So we're getting. All right. So
we're back, y'all.
Yeah.
No, what were you saying about the backlash Trump and Clinton was getting?
yeah. And
this
so
guy with the hands.
Yeah.
Back from Thanksgiving break, baby.
Yeah, right. But the thing is, I do think at least with Bill Clinton when he did his discretions, he had. This is gonna sound bad, but I feel like at least he had enough shame to lie about it, to try to hide it. He had enough shame to understand that what I did was a bad thing and I shouldn't be proud of it. It's not something to laugh and joke about. He at least, whether or not how he felt, he at least gave us the pretense of pretending to be hurt, pretending that I fucked up and this was a mistake. But with Trump, it's just cracking jokes. Billy Bush cackling.
Nah, but
Donald scores again.
But the thing about that was this though. Like, let's be real.
He's like celebrating it.
But yeah, he's celebrating it, right?
And he won.
But that's not the point. The point that I always tell the people was, Bill Clinton was and always has been a career politician. We're talking about a man that came from nothing, met Hillary Clinton, and who came from a lot. The Rodhams had money, Goldwater Republicans. Then he goes over to England and becomes a Rhodes Scholar. Comes back.
Yeah, man, he worked his ass off.
Becomes a lawyer.
Man.
Then he basically ran Arkansas from the 70s up until the 90s when he ran for president.
Which is a huge. I mean,
what?
Arkansas is pretty shitty.
Well, no, it's all fun and games, but I
know what you're saying.
No, but the point that I'm making is that they used to have black people on their farm at the Arkansas mansion working there, work release, like on some life shit.
Damn.
So it's like free labor. For them, right? Because they're not paying.
So these are the Clintons or the Rodhams?
The Clintons, when they were there, when they were the governor, and she was the first lady.
Governor's man.
And they would have, basically they're slaves because they're slaves to the government because they're in jail. They're there cleaning up the house, cleaning up for Mrs. and Massa, right? Yeah. And sweeping up the front and cutting the lawn and pruning the trees, right? Yeah. That's yard work, right? That's in the days in the fields, right?
Yeah.
I sure am hungry. I sure could go for a cold drink, Mrs. Can I please, Mrs. Hillary? Right?
Mrs. Hillary.
that's what we are to them.
Brisk baby.
And that's what we voted for, right? But then think about
Mr.
it, like
Bill.
this man, he slept with women, and they had
Master Bill.
They had a trail of women for him. A trail. We didn't really give a fuck about who Trump was sleeping with because he was fucking Donald Trump. We know he was sleeping with mad models and shit. Like, let's be real. With it. Like, I'm not a Trump.
Sleeping. Let's be careful with sleeping because I mean, if this guy's a known sexual assaulter, how much of it?
How many people have come out and said Trump was sexually assaulting me?
Like a lot.
I haven't heard anybody say Trump is sexually assaulting me.
No, there are a lot of stories. There are stories of women on planes. So like he'll be next to you on a plane and he'll just like shove his hand up your skirt or shove his hand down your shirt.
I mean, like I said, I'm not a Trump supporter,
yeah.
but I'm also fair in how I'm really fair and balanced, not Fox. Right. I'm just saying, like, what the fuck do people think like a billionaire playboy is going to do with his life? Like, that's what they do.
I understand.
And I'm not defending him at all because what he does is wrong.
Very wrong.
Feels he's not entitled to every woman. He's not. However, the shit that you can get away with the amount of money in your pocket is a lot different than what I can get away with. His level of what he can say and do with women is a lot different than what I can say. I have to be real careful how I approach a woman. I got to be like, excuse me, man, pardon me. If you in a Ferrari and you go toot, you going to get a look. If I toot you in a beat down ass 87 Corolla, who the fuck are you honking at?
Yeah. But to be fair,
you in a Bentley, you gonna turn around.
Yeah.
At the same time, you could probably count on two hands the number of like people in like modern day America who had more money, power, respect than Harvey Weinstein, than Roger Ailes, than Bill Cosby was powerful and respected. Who's the other one? There was Roger Ailes.
Bill Gates.
There was another big media guy, I think too.
Oh yeah.
Russell Simmons.
Well, yeah. Like people.
That man's a media mogul. You figure this year he just came back out of nowhere. Because he's not really, in the public eye besides with the rush card and stuff. So,
global grind.
Because he just had that issue 2 years ago when the checks didn't clear. Remember, they had the issue with the people who had their cards wasn't messing up, and they could get their money from the rush card because it's like set up for poor people who don't have bank accounts.
Yeah.
So
which
something
I don't
happened.
Understand. Why would you ever just set up a fucking bank account?
Because a lot of people don't
like
have access to bank accounts because they have poor credit. They won't let you open a bank account with poor credit because they feel that you're gonna overdraft the account or you won't maintain the fees in the account. So therefore, they don't let you have one. That's why they don't really have banks in poor neighborhoods. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's why check cashing place and check cashing places kind of lobby together too. And it's kind of like one of those things is like, do I really need you to come in my neighborhood? And they're like, yeah, those people aren't really worth it. Let the check cashing places deal with them, and we'll worry about the interest rates down here. And then they make up the money that they don't make in these bad neighborhoods. They make up with charging you extra when you come downtown, try to get a loan in your house. Wow. So that's what it is.
Yeah, so that makes a lot of sense.
That's America.
Yeah. But all right, so with this larger discussion, right. But like, one last thing on the Trump thing. I don't know. I do feel as though there's more to come. One thing I'm interested in hearing about is that one thing I'm seeing in the media a lot is people are talking about how we believed Harvey Weinstein, we believed all these other people, we believed the women who were coming out against Matt Lauer and the people who came out against you name it, Roy Moore, Charlie Rose, all these people. So why did we believe the accusers immediately off the bat for all of these people, but when it came to Donald Trump, we gave him the benefit of the doubt? And this is only 3 or 4 months ago. So like, how much has the political landscape changed? Now, Al Franken immediately went down. Conyers immediately went down. There's some guy in Minnesota, like a radio show host.
But we have changed. Like I was saying, like Monica Lewinsky, had she not had the dress, we would have said, you're a fucking liar.
But I'm talking about like in the last 2 or 3 months.
Right, but like, I haven't seen anything on Donald Trump. I legitimately don't know any of his victims' names. And if they really were like that, I'm quite sure that Don Lemon and CNN would have had this woman
did during the election. They did. I swear, look it up. There's even a story on the record. There's a police report filed, so it's not made up. And there are quotes about these guys, Trump and Larry Epstein. Larry Epstein was a billionaire, playboy type. He got into legal trouble because he was throwing these parties and he would have young girls there, young girls, underage girls, prostitutes, and he got arrested for running a sex ring.
That's crazy.
For literally running a sex ring, right? And there's an allegation that Donald Trump was at one of his parties, and there's allegations that he was in a room with the 13-year-olds and this and that, right?
I've heard that.
Allegations, right? So then, at first I was like, that's kind of crazy, but that's a lot, and you can't really say that about someone unless you really know. Then I saw another quote about Donald Trump talking about his relationship to Larry Epstein. If you knew someone who got arrested for running a sex ring, and that was your buddy back in the day, you'd be like, "Hey, look, man, that was before I didn't."
Bill Clinton was his buddy back in the day. There was Road Dogg.
Right.
Remember, he used to put a lot of money. He put a lot of money into Bill Clinton getting elected. He was a card-carrying Democratic member. He was considered so left and liberal. Those are his baby boomer buddies. It's like how we're millennials right now.
I mean, Trump used to be a liberal before he decided, I'm a Republican now, I want your vote.
He was liberal. He was never really too liberal. After the Central Park 5, he kind of like stashed his thing in there. And
but he always hung out in that.
And another thing
crowds.
too about the Harvey Weinstein situation, we did not believe the accusers all the time. Dame Dash, now we find out got blackballed from the movie industry because he smacked the shit out of him for touching one of his women from Paid in Full, and they didn't want to put Paid in Full out. Paid in Full was done in 2000. The movie was already done. Yeah. Remember, the first Dipset cover is Cam in the Alpo robe. Remember?
Yeah.
That movie was finished.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to put it out, and then finally the movie came out. But it's because he had an issue with Harvey Weinstein, and he's been talking about that forever. And then now all of a sudden he's like, "Oh damn, Dame Dash is right."
Right. But like real quick, the Larry Epstein thing, I think it's pretty important. So Trump came out and he goes, "Yeah, I've known Larry Epstein for 25 years," and he's like, one thing we both have in common is we both love beautiful women, and we both love them on the young side. Yeah. Why would you say that about someone who's been arrested for being a pedophile? Why would you put yourself, and why are you defending Roy Moore? Why are you going so far out of your way to defend a child molester?
How old is he?
Who?
Trump. 70 years old.
He's up there.
He's 70.
Yeah.
He's 71, right?
Yeah. He's finished.
So no, the point that I'm making,
gone.
Forget about being finished. How old is his wife now? Then you have your answer. His wife is at least 30 years younger than him, right?
Yeah, that's a gap.
Or 20-something years younger than him, right? So that means he's basically old enough to be his wife's father.
Yeah.
Right? And then his son is old enough to be his grandson. Like, he probably has grandchildren older than his own son right now. Right? So you already know what it is with him. Like, they don't see age as a deterrent. They're rich. I'm not saying that they're pedophiles, because a pedophile is someone who's attracted to someone who's pubescent. So I won't go throwing around the word pedophile.
What's the other word for like a teenager? But what's interesting is like this part is speculation at least. So like the whole Morning Joe crew. I felt like Joe said something really interesting the other day because they're talking about how how they all knew Trump for years before this, for 10 years. They're all rich New York money types, and so I'm sure they're all in the same circles.
Yeah.
And so in the beginning of the campaign, they were kind of supportive of Trump. They were, he was a friend, and they were trying to help him out. Mm-hmm. But I think at some point it's we can't really support this. And so they were talking about how one of their former hosts, Mark Halpern, had these sexual assault allegations against him, and she was just kind of like, hey, look, I had no idea about that. And people keep saying this open secret stuff, open secret. She's like, I worked with this guy for the longest time. I'd never heard any of this stuff. I had no idea this went down. But then talking about the Matt Lauer thing and how some of us knew some of it, and it's all NBC. They're on MSNBC. So Joe Scarborough stepped in wait a minute, don't say we knew, hey, look, I heard he was a philanderer. I heard he got around, but I didn't hear about no freak button and a lock and all this type of crazy shit. And then he goes, for example, we know a lot of things about Donald Trump and his personal life, but we would never actually come out and just say those things. Why? Because we don't want to get sued. And so he kept making all these allusions about how they know that Trump did some wild, crazy, a bunch of illegal shit back in the day, but hey, let's not talk about it for legal reasons. Mm-hmm. And so it's just I don't know. It's for me, it's not one of those smoke, if you're in a room full of smoke, there's a fire somewhere.
Yeah.
Right. So even if there's some level of deception and fake news and all that type of shit, why are so many people accusing you of the same shit? Why do you everywhere you go, everyone's.
I think the problem is with Harvey Weinstein's and the Epstein's is that people don't see it as politically motivated. Right. I think anytime that people come out with Trump is seen as the alt-right's version of what's his name? What's the old dude that just ran last year?
Ron
Paul.
No, not Ron Paul. The guy, the Democrat.
Oh, Bernie.
He's alt-right Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
And then he's their guy.
The anti-hero.
Everything. No, he's not that. He's their hero.
He's a villain.
He's our anti-hero no more than Bernie Sanders is their. They're especially alt-right, a Jewish dude from New York and that moved to Vermont. He's definitely not who marched with Martin Luther King and got arrested with Martin Luther King for black people's civil rights. Oh, he's definitely there. He's definitely the bane of their existence. The way that we look at Trump with disdain, they look at Bernie Sanders with that same disdain. But
or it might be Hillary because Hillary's a woman. Yeah, and they also really hate the shit out of women.
And that's
they hate their women, man.
And that's the thing I think that I really want to address really quick before not to go off a tangent is how shitty we really treat women. It is really sad. It's I remember there was a time where we had civility. I get it. We've been hard on women. In the rap music, bitches and hoes and.
For the last 10,000 years.
No. I want to make a serious point.
Sure.
And we've been really misogynistic with the rap. And I get it, but we never let it go to the point where we actually hate women. Sometimes I hear these guys talk on the internet, and it's yo, why do you hate women so much?
because
you
can't get one.
No, some of them have it. It's do you want to be a woman? You hate her so much that you hate her because you consider her a competition. They don't consider dudes competition. They be going at women. They try to out-selfie a woman. They try.
So you talking about YouTube comments? Because that's the 7th level of hell, man.
YouTube
YouTube comments.
To be a woman now, it's hard because women we talk about guys' appearances, but we're but she's quirky and I find him funny. So then a woman will date you, unless you got a little style. Women, no matter how beautiful they are, oh, she's a porker. Oh, she's this. Oh, she's that. And I just think it's really sad to be a woman in today's society because it's you got to really deal with a lot of shit. And then, that woman is walking down the street.
You gotta be thick, but you gotta be in shape and have abs.
No, it's not even that. You can't even walk down the street. People think they owe you.
You're not asking for much.
As a black person.
Says the Instagram creeper and shit.
I'm trying to pictures.
As a black person, right? I fucking hate when somebody goes, oh, why don't you smile? Why don't you smile a little more? It's like, I don't want to fucking
Live
smile
under
right
our
now.
skin.
Why don't you fucking smile?
You know what I mean? Like, I'm happy. I don't need to smile. So I can just imagine being a woman and a stranger come up to you, hey, why don't you smile today? That's not flirting. It's like, yo, leave me the hell alone. Like, I'm in my space. Like, let me live.
Here, to piggyback off of that, right? So Nicole was telling me a story, like a workplace story. And this is...
Who's Nicole?
Right. So this is a good friend. Someone I've known for a long time, right? So anyway, it doesn't matter, right? So... Right? Are we going personal? Are you going personal, right?
Oh, man. Brother love at his finest.
Yeah, right.
I'm just playing. I'm just teasing.
Shit.
Shit.
But anyway, so she's at work. She's working in the city. It's a very progressive company. We're the future. We're liberals. We voted for Bernie too, type company. And there's one person there who there was like a work party, and she was there, and they were talking about how, you know, just like mixing it up and talking. Oh, your boss this, your boss that. I hate this guy, whatever. And I'm trying to leave names out as best as I can. And then so Nicole goes like, wait, so how did it happen? So basically what happened was she was like, why do you hate my boss? And so basically what happened was that they kept calling her like Smiley or Smiles or whatever, and the premise was that guys would come up to her and make a joke or whatever, and I guess she didn't find their sense of humor funny. So it's not that they're not funny enough. There's something wrong with her for not smiling. So now, like, whenever they see her, like, it'd be like, oh, hey, Smiles, or, oh, come on, smile, crack a smile, Smiley. Like, so it was like, the running joke was like, there's something wrong with you for not laughing at my jokes. And I feel like there's a certain level of, like, entitlement there. There's a certain level of ownership, like, or perceived ownership. Like, I told a joke, therefore you have to laugh. You have to find it amusing. Did you hear me? I said something, right? There's a certain level of, I think, like, entitlement. Like, okay, now you have to laugh. You have to enjoy my company. You have to find me funny and charming and handsome, or you're a bitch. Or you're cold and you're... Maybe she don't find you funny. Maybe it wasn't that funny. Maybe she doesn't find you handsome, you know. But also at the same time, I will say, in terms of like confusion and stuff from the guy's side, at least, like it's like sometimes it's kind of hard to tell if flirting is going well or if it's annoying. Like it's like the example that people love to use is like flowers. So if like a guy you like surprises you with flowers, it's the most romantic thing ever. But a guy you just aren't into brings you flowers, and you're like, oh, you creep. Where did you get these flowers from? Did you dig them up? You know, from you know what I mean? Like it's like it's creepy. Cemetery. Yeah, right. You grave rob some roses. You know, but so it's like if the person doesn't find you attractive, then it's like, ew. But at the same. Like I can see,
but come see how real I am. You know
like so. For example, in my real life, for me,
are we going?
It happened. We're going personal a little bit, right? So someone I was working with left like a flirty note on my car. I didn't know it was the person I was working with.
So in the Bronx.
So I'm like, so I come out of work and I go back to my car and I see like a note on my car. So I'm like, fuck, is it a parking ticket? Like, what the fuck? And so I take it.
Yes or no?
Right. So it's like a flirty like note. And I'm just like looking around the parking lot. Because I'm like kind of like, not gonna lie, I'm a little scared. I'm like
Ashton Kutcher.
Right. So I'm like, how did you know my car? Like, who did this?
Nigga, we know you.
Like, I'm weirded out by it and shit. And so it wasn't until like a day or two later, she was like, oh, would you like the note? So I was like, okay. But until I knew who it was, I was like, this is kind of weird. Like,
and that's the thing too, as guys, is like we have to accept a lot of the bullshit from women. Can be very aggressive and obnoxious as well. And if you don't accept it,
the views expressed here.
no, because I don't give a hell. No, listen, no, because it's like they can be obnoxious. And they think that
hustle for hire at IG.
No, but listen, like you know, there's women out there that are super aggressive, and then if you don't accept their, you know, they're passing at you, they're like, oh, what? You're not a real man. You're not strong enough. You know, and it's like, hey,
if you can't handle me at my most dysfunctional,
because they think they're being like, you know, 2017, like, I've dealt with situations like that, and it's like, yo, slow down. And it's like, if I were to reverse the roles and I would be that aggressive on you. it would be like, yo, my man's creeping over there. He's a number one creep. And that's the number one
He's
thing.
He's a Wally level creep.
You don't want to, and that's the thing. Like, we joke about Creep Squad. Guys hate being called, like, the worst thing you could probably call a guy is a creep. That shit makes,
because calling the white person a racist.
Nobody,
they go,
yo, because nobody knows what it.
Friends list.
Because, like, it's this old joke. Nobody knows what creepy is, but we know what creepy looks like. You know what I mean? And then when you start thinking about what creepy looks like, you're like, oh, shit, I look like one of them dudes that wear a trench coat. They go in a porno store? Like, that am I creepy, like, white van and candy and puppy creepy? Like, what kind of creepy am I? Because, you want to find out. But back to that, women, out there really feel like, I don't know if anybody here has seen, what's that, Bad Bosses?
I heard of it. Yeah,
Bad Bosses.
Yeah,
and then the Jennifer Aniston character, when she was after the guy that worked for her, she was like, "You got to give me that dongdale." There's women out there who really like that. Like, yo, either we're gonna do it my way or the hard way. But they're really like out there like that, and they think that's acceptable, and they think like a man will be ready to go at all times. So I think it's like we're at a weird space right now.
It's a power dynamic.
Yeah, power dynamic going.
Yeah,
and also we're at a time right now where it's like, if a woman is not interested in you, fucking slide to the left and find another woman on Tinder.
Yeah.
Swipe it again. Keep swiping until you find what you're looking for. Like, there's no reason to creep.
Swipe on, swipe off.
Getting, like sexual intercourse, we're at the time, we call it the sexual revolution in the 60s. Nah, the revolution is now, bro. Like, we have long
STDs are at an all-time high, baby. Let's go.
We've got, there's never been a better
spread
time.
the love.
Like, I don't care about the back of my day shit. I'm talking about right now in my day.
Yeah.
Vagina is so plentiful.
Yeah.
It's in the palm. Vagina is literally in the palm of my hand. It's here.
True.
It's here, man.
Yeah, you can buy it. You can buy it for like $24.95.
You feel me?
Yeah,
on a monthly subscription. There's plenty of women out there that would want to get, to know you on that app. For you don't have to be like, just keep it moving.
You know what? I think, not to cut you off.
No, you're not cutting me off at all.
But I think that part of the reason why some fellas usually don't have that skill into picking out the cues, when to leave, when to bounce, is I honestly start thinking it's just the visuals of pornography plays a major role of them being desensitized, thinking that what actually is happening is how you engage and have a conversation with an adult woman, and then on top of that, it adds to if you have like younger women who are like, quick to just, I've been watching She's Gotta Have It. I'm on episode 6. It's just really opened my mind to understanding the POV coming from a young black woman trying to find her identity, her sexuality, her engaging of people, whether she wants to be someone who wants to have the husband and the wife, husband and the kid.
Hey, it's 2017, man.
Porno has really fucked us up.
Yeah,
mentally.
For sure.
And men, and don't get it twisted.
Pardon the pun.
Women love porno too. Like there's different types of porn that's like, like they've done studies, and women like dudes like porno that's straight to the action, know this and that, and the women like the pornos where it's kind of like the those romance novels they read, but it's like
that softcore with the plot and all that type of shit.
Right, but it's not even softcore. It's like, he get them in them guts now. Now, with all jokes aside, but with a storyline though, that's what they like.
I can't do that shit, man. I gotta skip it. I gotta skip like 15 minutes.
So think about the dynamic that we have. Like,
I got work.
So men want these women, right?
Immediate.
To be hot immediately, and we all know that physiologically women are not ready to receive sex as soon as they hit the bed. You got to set the mood right. You got to get them in the mood, and they have to. That's just physiological. You just can't go in. Otherwise, their body goes into a fight or flight motion. Right.
Absolutely.
So that's why you hear people, I'm not going to go into the dynamics of rape. I don't need to go into that. You can read about that yourselves. Mm-hmm. But the point of the matter is that's why that happens, because they weren't ready to receive sex at that time, and and their body shuts down. And then you have the dynamic of women seeing these men. They want these men in certain roles, these perfect roles. Mm-hmm. So then we're never perfect enough for each other.
Not at
it's
all.
tough.
Yeah, that's great
to
point.
piggyback off of that. Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, it's like, for me, I think it's also kind of like a chivalry thing. Like, so part of it is like, the like playing hard to get thing, right? And so like I think early on, young boys this is something that should change, right? It's like we're taught, you know, persistence. Women like persistence and keep trying.
That's what they call
it? Right. But that's how they call it back, you know, back in the day with the 1950s Leave It to Beaver kind of veneer over it. Oh, it's just persistence. Oh, you're just, you know, like how, like that big running joke of like the hot wife and the fat dowdy husband, and he's like, oh, I wore her down. What does wearing her down mean? It means, right? It means showing up at her job all the fucking, like, so it's like, I'm a huge...
Or Bill Cosby.
Right, oh my God. Right, so like, I'm big into classic film, right? So like in the 40s and 50s, you see it a lot, where it's like, you watch a movie because you hear it's romantic, and you're like, oh, it's supposed to be a, you know, love story of a lifetime, babe, let's watch it. And then it's just like some creep who's harassing this woman and showing up at her job and showing up at her house and showing up like when she's walking to work and just like all types of crazy shit and not taking no for an answer. But you know what's fucked up? In those movies, at the end of the scene, she would go, all right, you big lug. So then you walk away, as guys, you walk away from that thinking, okay, so maybe women feel annoyed and this and that. But if you have a good enough personality and if you try enough, long enough, eventually she'll give you a shot and then you'll get married and have 50 billion babies together and happily ever after. So that's the kind of narrative they feed to guys until you get out into the real world and you meet real people. And it's never that simple.
Right.
But that's
of the nerds, right? That's what the movie's all about.
Yeah. And so, you know, that's I think a big part of like, you know, expectations and stuff like that. And, you know, I think a big part of what's going on right here is we are having a hard time finding out where we are. And it's not just like a gender or a sex thing. It's all of our cultures are melding together. So how do we keep our identity while allowing the melange, the rouge, you know, the cultural interplay to happen, right? So next, you know, we have this Post Malone kind of ongoing fiasco we have here, right? So a lot of people are upset. A lot of people are calling him a culture vulture.
I am.
Picking off the last few meats off the bones of hip hop. All right, Money Mike.
Money making
Mike. Look at you.
We gonna take care of the family, Mike?
You smell a nigga with money.
Nah, there's nothing I hate more than the culture vulture. Nothing more.
So break down the case for
Yeah.
Post Malone being the culture vulture.
So,
why and how?
This guy, right? He comes out a couple years ago with White Iverson. White Iverson, this is his first single, right? So not this Iverson, he sees White, right? So that's the first thing that goes in here, right? So then I'm like, okay, didn't really like the song, but it was kind of catchy. So it was like, all right, cool. So then he comes out with some other stuff. Then he goes on tour with Justin Bieber, right? Now he has the Bieber Valley fan base that's on him. So again, so now he's going to like the super ultra poppy realm. Double XL, for whatever reason, thinks that this guy who half sings, half raps, but he's not Drake and he's nowhere near as talented as most of the other people out there, deserves to be on the cover of their Fresher magazine. What does his people say? No, we're gonna get Post Malone wants to move in another direction. We don't want to really put him in this hip hop thing. You don't want to put him in this hip hop thing. You want to keep him open, but he's been using rap and he has gold in his mouth, braids in his hair, and he's using the words and he's doing the
Wait
dances.
a minute, that sounds like rap.
Sounds like rap to me, right?
Sounds like rap to me.
But he wants to be a rapper without being a rapper, stuck in the realm of being a rapper. So God forbid.
Oh, so black. You don't want to be associated with blackness.
Not even associated with blackness, but this is a situation where he just wants to use that for the moment. And that's the problem that I have with a lot of things. It's like when I have friends out there. Oh, you know, before I go to the double XL issue, so they told, hey, listen, I don't want to be in the cover of that rap magazine. Do you really think that if Rolling Stone called him up and said, hey, we're going to give you the cover, and we want to call you the next big rapper, he would have said, no, I don't want to be on that. He would have been like, yeah, I'm going to be a rapper and an artist, and he would have gave Rolling Stone the respect. But what in his people's mind was, giving him a double XL issue would have been like him being on that little urban magazine.
Yeah, and Blackness.
I have a lot of people that, you know, have had this issue that, and I'm not going to say their names on the air, but they know, if they should listen to this, they know what I'm talking about, that work for urban publications, who have degrees from predominantly historically white institutions, yet they're pigeonholed into urban writing because they wrote at, these magazines or whatever. How about because most black people are only given to write about it, if they get it at all, but they'll have the whitest of white people writing about urban life, but nothing seems crazy about that. But then it would seem crazy for a young black writer to be interested in pop culture.
Right.
Like me, I'm supposed to be educated in every and anything black and just that.
Right. Yeah.
Anyone else that wants to be, that, they can dibble and dabble into my black world. Hey, Mike, actually, why do you do this, that, and the third?
For a semester.
And then go back.
First semester, be a rapper for a semester, and then once you graduate, you can go back to daddy's business.
You get out of that phase. Okay.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, I mean, in Boston, there was a lot of that. There was a lot of like.
Of course, Boston. What are you talking?
Yo, Boston's so racist.
Yeah.
Like a lot of like, but like that's where I went to college. So my college experience is there.
That should be a T-shirt.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Boston so racist.
Yeah,
Boston's
right.
so racist.
Ask any black person who's lived in Boston for more than like 2 months. They'll let you know.
No, they love Big Papi.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. But that's
a conversation for another show.
Yeah, that's funny. The Big Papi thing. I think that's another like subconscious thing too. But I think that is how people compartmentalize. Because I went to a Sox game. And it was the Sox versus the fucking Yankees of all games, right?
Oh shit.
Yeah, so it was crazy. The shit that those guys were yelling from the bleachers that entire game. Boston is a racist fucking city. But when Papi came up, woo, fucking Papi, let's go, fucking get him, fucking Papi. No. And then like the next dude will come up will be black, and then they'll just fucking tear his head off.
Well, that's
so like they can separate it.
But I'm assuming Papi's like a darker hue, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, but
Papi's a star, so it's like he's one of the better players
from
on the
DR,
team.
probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they probably don't look at him as.
So they kind of separate him in some right. So and so that could be a factor too. But so with the whole Post Malone thing, the part about it that frustrates me a lot is, I think you alluded to it earlier, but like a Miley Cyrus kind of thing, where it's just like Miley Cyrus had the Hannah Montana thing. She wanted to be taken seriously. She wanted to prove the world that she could be wild. So what's the most wildest thing I could possibly do? Yeah. Act like a black person. Work. Wow, that's so wild. So then she acted really wild for a while until it pissed off Daddy and her boyfriend left her.
J's on my feet. Yeah. J's on my feet. Yeah, with Juicy J and Mike Will made it.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. And that's when the other thing that pisses me off too is I feel like sometimes we're too quick to throw our arms around everyone who wants to appropriate our culture for a couple of weeks.
Why does she rap like that?
Yeah.
Oh, hold up. Now I like me some. No. You mean Azalea?
Yo, I'm so sorry. Azalea Banks is black from Harlem.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Azalea Banks. I know you hate that shit. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I meant to say Iggy Azalea, the Australian, not Azalea Banks, the Harlem girl. Sorry.
All right.
No, but
while we're talking about Azalea Banks, that Bruja shit, fuck that. You see that video?
Oh, the Brujeria shit?
Yeah, man. Y'all, man, chill with that shit, man.
She's from that part of Harlem, so that's like what they do up there. Cause like a lot of people do like Santeria and like Brujeria, like that's just what they do up there. Like that's part of their culture. Just like some people from the Caribbean, they do voodoo and voodoo. That's what they do.
We can say as Haitians, fuck that shit, man. Like honest, you fuck that shit.
That's their culture. That's their culture.
Man, I can't bring.
You know it's cultures,
Mom.
Man. Empanadas is culture, man. That's culture.
I don't judge.
Rice and beans is culture, man.
I don't judge.
Well, she's done this right.
What was it like 3 years of chicken bones and shit up in the closet?
So that's
like in the closet.
That's weird, right? Yeah. But if you think about it, and I'm not gonna go into like the whole thing, but again, if you're gonna talk about culture vulturing again, how about this? When it was time to get people to convert from certain religions, they always took pieces of religions of people to come inside of it and say, no, your culture is bad, but we can take a little bit of this, but the rest of that shit is garbage. That's what we're doing with black people's music. No. The rest of that shit is bad, but we're gonna do this and that and the third, right? Like a lot of the Virgin Mary stuff that comes from a lot of Santeria. That comes from a lot of that. People burning candles in the church. That comes from that.
Yeah.
Christmas comes from that. You know, Saturnalia and Christmas, same time of the year. That's pagan holiday. And then they folded that into that.
Yeah, the Christmas tree is Nimrod's dick. That's supposed to represent Nimrod.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So if you think about culture vulturing.
So I have a light up dick in my apartment.
Yeah, you have like an 8-foot shiny glow up dick.
Easter also coincides with a lot of pagan holidays about that as well. Easter
the birth god.
They eat the birth god right there. The bunny. Think about how bunnies, how fertile a bunny is. You leave a couple bunnies in it, your gestation period is crazy. They'll have a house full of bunnies, right? Yeah. So that's the purpose. Like some people are like, oh, they fucking like rabbits. Yeah, because rabbits get it in, right? So again, this is about culture vulturing, right?
Right.
So
damn tricks.
You guys caught me on a good night, you know, because you gotta be like, you know, but this is something that really, really irks my soul is that the fact that people don't see value in what we do, but they do see value in it money-wise, but they don't see
monetary value.
Monetary value, but they don't see culture value into it. And then what they do is
it's a respect thing. They don't respect it.
But see, this is how it happens. The Post Malones of the world come in, they don't respect our shit, and then their fans come in and say, "Oh, Post Malone's the best that ever did it." And then all of a sudden, more Post Malones come, more and more and more, to the point where it was like when black people want to rap, black people don't rap. Why do you want to rap? That's why when black people pick up a guitar, pick up a bass, and try to reclaim our music that we
people
created,
look at us funny.
Our rock and roll. How many white black people are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
Can you imagine
Ain't that some shit? Yeah.
Can you imagine that? Imagine Imagine a basketball Hall of Fame
with no black
people in it. But think about it. That's how it happened, right? Who created the basketball? Dr. James Naismith, right? He wasn't black. He was white. Well, how many white guys are in the NBA Hall of Fame? We took it over, right? We added our own style and we did this. That's what they've done to our music,
right?
Like, but the thing about it wasn't like we took over basketball.
It's like we took it from them. We performed better.
We performed better,
and so that's different. That would be
and we competed together, right?
Right.
The thing about it is like black people have been consistently shut out of rock and roll. Like people looked at Hootie and the Blowfish crazy. Like, why does this guy want to sing a guitar? Yeah. Everybody doesn't want to rap and beatbox and you know whatever else. No, it's real shit. Like if you do anything in the world, like Lenny Kravitz took him a long time to get on because people just want him to rap. They're looking at him. All right, do your rap thing. I play the guitar. The guitar. Fishbone. Fishbone was killing it. One of the best to ever do it. Nah, but they're a black rock band. What's the group that that's
I still get that shit today. Like,
of course you do.
Yeah, like teaching kids and stuff. Like right. So like kids say the darndest things. It was like I was teaching all day from like 9 to 3, and it was like I was almost done, and I was telling the kids, quiet down. I have a rehearsal tonight. I'm gonna be singing all night. I can't be screaming at you guys. And one of the girls go, "Ooh, wow! I didn't know you were a rapper. Oh, what do you rap? Let me hear your songs." And I'm sitting here as the guitar teacher with the guitar in my hand. And I was like, "Oh, you think I rap, huh?" And that's all I could think to say was, "Oh, you think I'm a rapper? That's cute. Like, when did I say I was a rapper? Why would I need to save my voice to rap, right?" So it's a different kind of vocal performance. You don't need to save your voice for that. But it's it's.
Well, how about the looks you get when you say, "I listen to other things besides rap"? Like people are so fucking ignorant when it comes to it. And I know I dropped a lot of F-bombs tonight, but it's just to the point to the matter. It's like this. Like
I play country and bluegrass sometimes.
Forget,
how about that?
But it's not even about what you play.
Country ass.
But listen,
I'm gonna take it a step further.
Listen to what I'm saying though about the hip hop. People are so ignorant about hip hop they don't understand it. What is most hip hop based off of? It was samples.
Yeah.
So therefore, other people had to listen. We didn't sample other rappers because rappers weren't out to sample at the time. They went to a record store and said, "Hey, listen. What do you got back there?" And they went and put an Eagles record on and said, "Yo, I fuck with this Eagles record. Yeah, I'm going to sample this. I'm going to sample the Turtles. I'm going to sample this. I'm going to sample that." And find a loop. And it would be something totally different than what was going on in the South Bronx or what was going on in New York or what was going on in the hood and other places. Like, this is middle America white music. And they turned it and flipped it, put heavy drums on it, put a bass line on it, did some low end, and killed it. Yeah. And that's what hip hop is all about. It's about flipping and being open to everybody and putting our spin on it. Right. And it's culture. It takes an ear. It's very hard to
find. It's a very black thing.
First of all, you got 10. You know what that's like? Yeah. Rap music is the real world equivalent of Chopped. Really, it's like Chopped or Iron Chef.
Yeah.
They give you a bunch of bullshit ingredients, and you got to make a 5-star course with it. Yeah. And you get a 10-second clip of whatever, because the new shit that's out now wasn't out then. You know, you could only work with. Think about you listen to DJ Premier record. Those are 1 to 2 3-second clips that he has in there. You know, little sounds, and he'll sample it from back in the day and stretch them shits out.
Back in the day. Yeah.
And really push the limits of that. These guys are geniuses, and for us to sit there and, you know, call them all these little, you know, whatevers. Yeah, I get it. The mumble rap era is here, and it's not going anywhere. But we haven't gone anywhere where different eras, as I've expressed before. Back in the 90s, we had the whole shiny suit rap, you know, where Bad Boy.
Shout out to Mace.
You know, Mace, and the worst thing, and then you see the whole Locks, Free the Locks campaign. They burning the shiny suit and the shiny suit, man. You remember that? Yeah. And, you know, that issue, DMX came through and just killed that shit and brought the griminess back. Because Jay-Z was wearing a shiny suit. Jay-Z himself. Sunshine. He's using that. Jay-Z used Stevie J's records. I'm rolling Rockefeller, man. Them niggas got money. That's Stevie J.
Oh, get out of here. Get out of here. Shout out to Stevie J.
You know? So
graduated from Creep.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So, you know, all that shit is all from that era. And then, you know, we sit here and we say what real music is, and Post Malone says, oh, well, if I want to listen to rap, I want to smile. But when I want to cry, I want to do this, that, and the third. Like, yo, you fucking it. Yo, you're a whack. First of all, what did Common say? I make music to fight, fuck, or dream to. What are you talking about?
Yeah, no, that's not where his heart is, and that's what it is, and that's the problem with it.
Or his girlfriend could have influenced it. You know?
We can't support people who are just doing this just to make money. Don't really give a fuck about what's going on. Nope. You know, but speaking of hardworking artists, man, we got Ryan Leslie on the docket, man. Last thing I wanted to talk about today is this new breakdown. Leslie. All right, so Mike, set it up first, man.
So a couple days ago, I sent you guys an article because you know, Ryan Leslie just started coming out public again. I actually saw him about 2 weeks ago in Elizabeth. He stopped through to a showcase. One of my artists is happy to perform at, so I was happy to meet him there. And he was up there, and I was like, oh shit, R. Les is here, because like that's like my hero. So a couple years back, when he was like he was a super producer at that time. It was like him, Pharrell, and Timbaland were like the guys to go to.
So what happened to him?
Well, he was on vacation. He was on vacation, and I believe he was in Germany or something like that. I forget the whole situation where he was at. The point of the matter was he was going around with his laptop and his computer, and he had a whole bunch of unreleased music on it. And he realized, oh shit, someone either stole or I lost my laptop, and I got all this unreleased music on there. So he puts up a thing for $1 million and says, if anybody should give this back to me and return it, I'll give you $1 million. So what happens is this guy gives him a laptop back and says, here's your laptop. But the fucking laptop doesn't work anymore. So he's like, it's not worth $1 million. But the guy's like, hey, listen, you didn't say I need it back working. I need this song or whoever it is. You said, if I give this back to you, I need $1 million. So what do? They find Ryan Leslie guilty of breach of contract and say, I owe you $1 million. He owes the guy $1 million. So he's been fighting him, claim bankruptcy. So finally what they've done now is they've seized his assets from his royalties until he pays his gentleman $1 million. Now, if you know anything about Ryan Leslie was a super producer. He has crazy, forget being with Fabulous. Fab is dope, but Fab is not in the echelon of money that he was making. He has Britney Spears songs. He has Usher songs. He has
So why not just pay the $1 million and move on?
The reason why he didn't want to pay the $1 million because you got to understand how Ryan Leslie thinks. The man is a genius. Like, he's from Harvard. He graduated at 14 from high school, went to Harvard. So he probably did in his brain a cost benefit analysis and said, hey, listen, I got shit on here. I can get Britney Spears, who has a crazy ass budget. If I can at least get one of these fucking songs back, I can at least get my $1 million, and I can make at least $30-40 million back later on because I'm gonna get these budgets. Yeah. Come on, think about what Britney Spears' budget's looking like. What Usher's budget's looking like. You know, and plus if he gets a couple rap songs and everything else out there, he can make his money back. So he figured, what's $1 million? It wasn't a lot because at that point he was going platinum with everything he'd done. Like he composed that. Yeah. Like he's not a copy paste producer. So for him to come up with
I've seen him produce, like, he has, like, videos where he breaks it down, like, the stuff he comes up with.
So imagine if someone came through your apartment, you write compose your notes, right?
Yeah.
Imagine if someone came and just burnt your book.
Yeah.
Do you remember every fucking thing you ever composed?
I have stacks of music, like, this high, of just, like, just, like, shit.
So, legitimately, someone legitimately came through and burned his stack of books digitally. Right. So, he doesn't know if that person's...
But it's his fault, though.
It is his fault.
It would be like if you fell asleep with a cigarette in your hand and you accident... Or some shit like that. It's like, no one told you to lose your shit.
I don't think that he should have paid the man. Not me being a fan of him. Yeah. But me being realistic,
I'm a fan of him, and I
don't think that. I think it was smart for him to offer $1 million. I think it was unsmart of him to do it without maybe a lawyer writing that statement, because maybe he was such in a panic that he wrote it, and then the guy's like, well, here's your laptop. They should have written it to the fact that, because corporations put out money for shit all the time, and they wiggle their way out of not paying people all the time. All the time. So this is the first time that this man has to pay actually $1 million. Not settle out of court for $200,000 or $50,000.
You said $1 million, yeah.
You got $1 million, you gave back a laptop. That's bullshit, bro. And you know music on it?
Wait, so two things. How can we even confirm that it's the right laptop if it's broken?
They knew it was his because it was they basically knew it was his computer.
Okay, so they somehow were able to confirm.
And how the guy got it was under shady circumstances. They don't know if he stole it.
That's what I'm saying.
That's why they give him $1 million. He's like, how'd you find it? So if if Coca-Cola lost the secret to ingredient, list to their soda, and they said $1 million for a safe return, I gave it back, and then they asked me, how'd you come upon it? And then I have a shady story. They're gonna look into how I found it and be like,
fell off the truck. Yeah,
like it was big ass truck. Is this an inside job? Whatever. Personally, the mistake that he made, and I hope that he probably smarter than that now. I mean, I would hope so, but that he would insure all his equipment for millions of dollars. That way, that could have been an issue to deal with his insurance company and not with him personally being liable for it. Because if he would have lost something, how much is the stuff on there? Intellectual value? He could have easily have said that because he has receipts. Like, intellectual value is hard to prove if you don't have a history of something. But if you have, my music goes for $500,000 a beat. My music goes for probably not 500, but it goes for 75,000. How many songs you lose? I lost approximately about $3 million in income on this. Right. You can file a claim. You could.
Wait, so my question is I think we do have precedents for this. So, like, there are cases where, like, someone will come up with, like, a new iPhone design or something and it goes missing. So what happens in those circumstances? Like, do we know? Like,
honestly, I can't really say because I'm not really like an expert on stuff like that.
Yeah,
but I'm quite sure that happens a lot because we live. Because
what happens in that?
We live in the era of patent trolls, so I'm quite sure that happens a lot more than what you think. Like and people do that a lot. But I just think it's a dangerous precedent where I can steal your laptop because guess what? If I pick up a laptop. And just because I leave something there doesn't mean that you or Wally can just go, finders keepers. No, you're supposed to bring it to the cops. Hey, I found this in the park bench.
That's true.
They steal your shit. And then you go, okay, I'm going to give it back to you. And then you give them back the laptop in non-working condition. And then none of the shit that was on the laptop is there anymore. What happened to it? What did you do to it?
Yeah, was it stolen?
You was it stolen? Did you put it on?
Because you could have copied it and then just broke the laptop. And then said, give me $1 million.
Give me $1 million back.
Yeah.
And then ransom him, right?
Yeah.
But that's fair.
But you asked me to bribe you, though. You asked me for... You did. You asked me to
Yo, that'd be like me saying, $1 million for my dog to come back, and then you come back and the dog's dead.
Or...
yeah, you feel me? Like, like you get... Oh, hey, listen.
Hey, you want me to find your dog?
You told me to find your dog. Here's Roscoe. And I'm right here. He's dead, but here he is.
Yeah, right.
You just ain't dead or alive. No, bullshit. You want my dog back.
Yeah, right. Ignore the shoe print on the back of his head. But he's back.
Right? No, it doesn't work that way. You get the fuck off my porch, man. Like,
take my dog with you.
Yeah, take the dog with you.
Yeah. You sick motherfucker.
Yeah, right? So you give somebody, you steal his music, and then you give him back a broken laptop and say, give me $1 million. You're a scum of the earth. You are the scum of the earth. Like, this is what I'm talking about. People having no decency, man.
I feel like you're a piece of shit, but technically, I
that shit is, when I read that, and then the Daily News was like,
what if it's not his fault? What if it's like his homeboy stole it and he just
Did
got
you
it?
see the front of the paper a couple years back? They called him like they were calling him all type of the New York News, Daily News, because the case was in New York.
The Daily Diddler.
Nah, they called him something like a $1 million louse or something like that, or like whatever it is. Like when you come back on your word, it was bad. Like they really got they made him into a bad person. Like he got his shit stolen. And he's a bad person. But meanwhile, corporations do this shit all the time, and we love them. But then this guy, small, he's rich, but he's not a conglomerate. He's a hardworking person. You know what I mean? And then he just go steal his music.
He earned it.
Yeah. Why do you think why am I entitled to steal his music? Like that's dirty. So that's why we've been robbed of the Ryan Leslie songs. Like the guy's one of the best to do it in this era, but he's been handcuffed to this bullshit.
Yeah, I've been wondering why for the longest time, for years, because I remember that whole Pharrell, like that Bape time period.
Yeah.
He was like really about to explode,
and he came out, killed it.
He really should have just paid the guy the $1 million.
He should have paid it then. He had it at that time. He had the
That's
money.
what I'm saying, because you could have just paid the fucking guy off and then do your thing and move on and have your career.
And then now, what happened? It's
all about relevance, man.
It's very much a relevance because he was pre Miguel, pre Bryson Tiller, and definitely pre Frank Ocean.
Yeah.
Frank Ocean wasn't even in the conversation yet.
Yeah.
So he had that whole round.
He was a pawn at that time.
Oh, I like that. Oh, I got
it.
He wasn't the ocean. He was a pond. I like that. He might have been the creek. You know.
Frank Creek.
Anyway, we're horrible.
I know, but hey, man, we go for 2 weeks, man. We got a lot of
man,
we got more to share.
But yeah, man, that's my thought on the Ryan Leslie situation and that Post Malone. Actually got me riled up, man. I got time for these fools, bro. Like
cool down.
Culture vulturing, man, and vulturing off of people, bro. That shit is it's so easy in 2017, man, to do that.
Yeah.
And and I said my piece on how how we treat women with the savagery, man. Like being a savage is so ridiculous. Like how
Jack is whack, guys. Jack is whack.
How savage is that? I steal your shit and go, hey man. Like
that's some broad man shit.
Like
that's capitalism.
Being a good person is not the thing to be anymore, man. Like there's no there's no morals, there's no scruples. It's just like, hey, fuck everybody over before they can get me type thing. And
I think the important thing here is that I don't necessarily agree with that. I see what you're saying, but I think what it is that there is no longer like a reward for doing the right thing. Like at least back in the day, there was a perception that if you did the right thing, you would somehow get rewarded for it. Mm-hmm. But I feel like that's gone out the window. But at the same time, I feel like you should if it's the right thing to do, then it's the right thing to do, regardless of if someone's looking or not.
Here are the facts.
But at the same time, I've done charitable works in the last few months or whatever. No one cares. Like that's fine. Like it's I don't get some type of like cookie or stuffed teddy bear for doing like human shit. Right. So
this dude fought for this $1 million since 2010. He was determined.
Right, he should have 7 years, over $1 million.
7 years. And
for someone who has $1 million.
And now he owns this man's fucking royalties until he gets his $1 million out of it.
He got way more than $1 million out of it.
No, but it's only up until it's paid. But $1 million.
Assuming he pays.
But no, because now.
So is it liquid until? So how does that work money wise?
Well, money wise, it's like those checks, those
quarterly,
those quarterly publishing the royalty checks. That were addressed to Ryan Leslie that pays Ryan Leslie's bills.
Are you kidding me?
Not going to go to Ryan Leslie. They're going to go to that gentleman until he pays it. Like what he should have done, honestly, what Ryan Leslie should have done is he should have
the legal system.
He should have done like what big companies do. Offer you $1 million. Like when M&M's gives you $1 million, they don't give you $1 million straight up. That's why they have like J.G. Wentworth. I need my cash now shit. They pay you in lump. Don't pay you in lumps, and they pay you in annuities. He should have paid this guy $50,000 for the next 20 years or whatever it is, and just paid it and make that guy go to J.G. Wentworth to get the rest of his money. And then he would have had it.
Go get your cash now, bitch. Yeah.
But he didn't. 2010, right? 7 years of this shit.
Damn,
that's horrible.
I think we
got what we learned here today is that it's
what did we learn here?
It's really tough trying to be a good person trying to do the right thing. You know what I'm saying? You try to marry someone that you proposed to, and then you have your love, and then you go on the internet and people are saying, nah, she's not fully black, she's this, that, and the third. You know, you go into a situation where you try to offer your best creative work to the world, and you share
New York
your music.
Post, real quick, the New York Post about Ryan Leslie. Rap weasel. Rap weasel. He called him a fucking weasel.
Yeah, rap me. He doesn't even rap.
Yeah.
The guys, as I said, this is how they fucking treat us, man.
Yeah, but he's urban.
He's urban.
He's urban.
Not
so
a Harvard educated educated genius, right?
Right.
Who's been from California, who's been profiled.
Right.
Not a classically trained I don't like to say the word pianist because people think you say penis, but pianist, right?
Yeah.
Not a multi professional player. No.
Penis.
You think they talk about Billy Joel that way?
Oh, no way.
They probably
way.
do.
You think they talk about Elton John that way? Someone that talented?
Oh,
of course not.
He'll get heated. He'll get flamed.
Rap weasel. He's a weasel, right?
Yeah, rap.
This is what I'm talking about. So
Rap weasel.
So yeah. Wow, that's I feel bad. But let's be honest here. If you look at that picture though, he does look like a weasel.
He did look a little weaselish. I'm not even gonna lie.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It doesn't help. I think it's a complection thing. I think his complexion is just like
protection for the complexion.
Yeah,
Shout out to Paul Mooney.
yeah.
Yeah, but yo, there's so much we have to talk about.
Yeah, just moving forward. But yeah. So I think that we had a cool talk. I think it was cool talking to you guys. I appreciate coming out here and doing this, having this chat with you guys.
Yeah, man, this is therapeutic.
I think we talked about some interesting stuff too. There's a lot going on, and I think we did a pretty good job, even though we didn't do it all the way, of avoiding all the sexual abuse stories. Yeah, because that's literally all anyone's talking about right now. But I think there is a lot we can highlight right now.
I'm really disappointed at Russell Simmons.
Oh my God, yeah, right. We could have gone right. So like honorable mentions, dishonorable mentions. Yeah,
Russell Simmons. He had Russell Crowe.
No, I know there was. Let's not say Russell Crowe because he hasn't been alleged of anything.
Listen,
but
he actually was alleged. Remember last year with Azalea Banks? That's what he got alleged last year.
You know what's interesting?
And then RZA and them gaslit her and said that it didn't happen. Then RZA said recently that situation did happen where he spit on her. So he has been alleged of abusing women. So let's not skip over that.
Yeah, and that's something that's interesting too. That
fuck you, Russell.
Well, fuck you, RZA. Because why? Because I remember that. I remember thinking that Azalea Banks has issues, and I don't really trust her. But at the same time, Russell Banks is like a known violent motherfucker.
I just want to let me know Wu-Tang runs deep. Hustle for High has no issues with Wu-Tang Clan. Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing for me. So I have no issues with you.
Right. Right.
The views expressed.
Yeah, right. It's just Dave, right? No, but
album coming soon.
Have you seen the niggas in Wu-Tang? All of them 6'5". I'm good.
Two niggas look like they're the starting five, man.
Yeah, right. 5%er ass. Well, they probably know that Shaolin Kung Fu shit too.
The only short dude in the group is Raekwon. So maybe you have a shot with him, but the rest of them Method Man and all them, nah, man.
Tall ass niggas at a 5% is that's dangerous.
Nah, right. Well, I don't understand. All I'm saying is I don't understand is maybe he needs to come out and explain the secret Illuminati reasoning. Because why do you go to a party with someone, you invite that person along or whatever, that person gets attacked, and then I don't understand why he wouldn't stand with her, especially since, again, Russell Crowe has a history of doing. So, Russell Crowe doing this isn't, crazy out of nowhere.
Let's just be honest, though. Yeah. Azalea Banks has not made it easier for her brand as well.
Oh, for sure.
So he's looking at a situation
and
whose side do I want to take?
I know you guys want to wrap up as well, but I also wanted to do like they do at the end of the ESPN with that show, and they say errors. Yeah. So I had said that he lost the laptop. He did not lose the laptop. The laptop was stolen from his car while he was in Germany. So it was stolen from him. That's why he put the word out. So it wasn't like he just left it on a park bench. It was stolen from a car.
Oh,
That makes the situation a little. So I wanted to add that in there.
Yeah,
it was in Germany.
In Germany, in the Benz.
In a foreign country, you don't really know where you are.
I knew it was Germany. Yeah, so I just wanted to put that out there, not to go rehash the whole story, but I just wanted to get that out there, the true facts of it.
No, that's an important. Yeah.
Hey, fact checks on MXE podcast. That's what we do. Like other podcasts, they just run their mouths and they're like, "You do the Googles." Now we do our Googles while we chat. So no that's shots at any podcast.
No one can question our integrity. We use Google.
No, sorry.
And
we'll do a quick Google search.
and to double check, we'll even use Bing.
Yeah.
He'll use Bing. Nobody use Bing. You might as well use Netscape and use fucking Internet Explorer.
Don't put that. Bing might put some money out there. Bing will holla at us,
man.
This nigga tripping. Google not throwing no checks out there. Bing spending money, man.
Yeah, man. So holla at me.
Put your money where your mouth is.
Bing putting that bread up, man.
Let's see it.
Most millennials eat. Look, most millennials are fucking with Bing anyway. Yep. So.
I use Bing and I want a Microsoft Surface. Hook it up, man.
Mm-hmm. Come on, man. Over here. Lifetime.
Send me 2 since they don't want one.
I don't know. You're going to have to convince me. You're going to have to. I'm currently unconvinced right now.
That's
well, it's been a wonderful chat.
Jesus, that's like something you say like at the end of like one of those like awkward like conference calls. And stuff.
Yeah.
You're just like, well, guys.
Anybody want to have any final thoughts?
Yeah.
We're good. All right.
That sounds like awkward sex. Well, listen, like. How did you feel about the last final minutes? Well, I thought that we could have,
For the most part, I felt it quite enjoyable.
For the most part, it was quite enjoyable. But that last, look, got a little awkward.
Quite enjoyable.
Things got a little wonky there.
So what's my Uber rating? what's my Uber rating? Right?
Your star rating.
Right. But yeah. So we'll be back next week to really finish this topic off.
We'll be back. Instagram, Facebook.
It's MXE Podcast.
Twitter,
Google Play, iTunes, MXE Podcast, everything. Put it out on the site.
Everything, everywhere, all the time.
We're here. Only thing we're about to be YouTube.
One pillow,
soon.
one bed,
one nap.
by myself.
That was David. So yeah.
Night.
be sure to follow me on Instagram at Wally Wall Street. David could be located at
Dave. __, the underline.
He made it.
Will, the line again. Music. Dave Will Music. I don't know. It's 3 words, man.
Why so many underscores?
That's what I'm saying.
Too many.
It's to separate it out.
Nah.
Fuck that. Bias and candor at IG. That's better.
Follow Wofford at the Sleepy Creeper.
Wally Wall Street. No, Wally Wall Street the Creeper.
Mr. DMs. And then we have Mike Hennix at Hustle for Hire. You know what I'm saying? Be sure to check him out. Check out his ad on Backpage. And,
I got the Christmas special for Lonely Housewives. This week only.
Holiday special.
Just looking at
Hey, look out! Let's know about the Hanukkah specials coming on the way.
Yeah, I'll give you 7 nights.
Yeah, 7 8 crazy nights.
8 crazy nights. Let's go.
No, let's stop this before we get cut off. Yo.
Someone literally cut our microphones off and shit from like the ether.
But and if you have any advertising opportunities, be sure to hit us up at mxepodcast@gmail. And this was episode 10. We've hit double digits. And remember, no means no.
No means no.
No.